Certain is correct. Yep.
Oh, we're
Alright,
starting.
it's good for everyone. Alright, let's get into it. So, first game, welcome everyone to the first game of League and House League between Fiesta and B Square. We will be joined by Igakar to cover all three games today. And so yeah, we're looking forward to this game. They are best of two, and we'll see the roles very soon.
Yeah. And the first two matchups are actually very exciting. They are very even, and they should be very high tier.
Yes, so they are. I must say that all of the team playing today have a very high skill cap. But can they show today? That is the question.
Yeah. I can I can see that Basti got steeds with Disciple and Gates and the Anglers. That's pretty strong. The Violets as well. That role is pretty strong.
Yes, indeed. So the problem is that you don't want too much mana units with those steeds,
Yeah.
because if they share too much mana, that's where the steeds loses in importance, because you cannot exploit the fact that you can have multiple spells.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the Legion spells, the time they choose their role. So we have a Vampire spell, which is very good to replace a Butcher if you don't have one. You have Press the Attack, which is a very aggressive spell. And you have Venture, which is a good scaling spell, I'd call. The
Venture can be
problem,
hard to use when there's press the attack.
exactly, the problem
Yeah.
is the presence of the aggressive spell that might prevent some people going for Venture. And so we have the first, all the roles are locked in. And so let's look a little bit of what they chosen. So we see from Etienne a little bit of a safe role, let's say, a lot of tanks, but only a few late game damage dealers, only relying on the Serpents early on, I'd say. We also have Avalon Tough, starting with the Berserker, allowing for a slow clear on the early waves, allowing more Mythium to be amassed. But as you can see, there's not a lot of, yet again, not a lot of damage on Avalon Tough role, except in the late game. We have Bunny, a similar start in the Berserker. Um, and yet again, not a lot of damage. So the common thing between all the three first roll is that we do not see a lot of damage early on. The damage comes really in the later state of the game. The only role that show a little bit more damage early is the one of Basti.
Basti's role is really strong, I think. He got the tanks to protect the Violets, and he got the Violets with the Disciple and the Mana Steeds. And I dislike Havilantov's role. I don't like it because he really needs to find some good DPS behind those units. I think you can make the Bunny's role work if he gets the mana steeds to give mana to the Hades, and then maybe go for the masks. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that the masks are to help him get to the point of the 80s, because right now
Yeah,
we only see the 80s as the DPS, and he needs to get to this point if he wants to
yeah,
work.
and Ithian can just play a standard Coiler build where he tanks up with the Alpha Males, Butcher, I don't know what you call it. I always call it the Unicorn, but it's a fox, the Usaurus.
Oh, the Yuzura.
and then and the Peewees. So if he just uses them and as tanks and then just build um, yeah, a lot of serpents or two coilers, then he will be good for the entire early and mid game. If he holds wave 5,
Yeah,
the
so that's
wave,
the problem. The weakest wave of Serpent is wave 5, but once you get past this wave, it is way easier to work out the Serpent's
yeah.
DPS. We have the first Sense coming up to the on wave 3, and so we see that a single DT is giving a little bit of trouble on Ithian. I think it is a small leak. I think there's quite a lot of little frogs.
Yeah, it is a small league.
So,
5
and we have
units.
a safe hold from Avalon with the Veteran and the Berserker. And I think it is a small league also for Bonnie. Yeah, it is. So we had 2 safe builders and 2 risky one. Uh, but I think both teams are quite happy of the result of this wave 3. There's not much gold loss, and yeah, the builds are pretty well set up for the future. So if we're looking on the builds, we can see that Bonnie and Basti are surely looking at wave 5.
Yeah.
There's no reason why they shouldn't. Um, and now the only question for Ethion and Avalon is where do you go to break Basti? And that's the thing. With the steed shown on wave 4, they must ask this question now.
Would you not be able to lead the Violet with a Fiend here?
With a single Fiend on 4, yes, you could, but the Mithium wasn't. Was it present? Oh, maybe it was. Yeah.
It was. But it's not important. But the problem on the 3 other guys is that they right now look a little bit weak. I don't think Ethian will be that weak because I think he will place a butcher behind the wargs.
I think maybe his plan is to go for the Alpha Male right now.
Oh yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
It
I
is a
didn't
way
see that
safer.
Yeah, it is. I didn't see that he skipped the goal.
Yeah, so the setup for, even though he leaked a little bit of wave 3, the fact that he received a sand and he was really strong on wave 4 allowed him to shift. And so this allowed him to have a stronger position on wave 5, which is the weakest of Serpents. So very good setup from Etienne
Yeah.
on that one. But no sand. They decide to follow the Etienne and Haviland starve. So it might be a big sand on 7 for both of the team.
They could actually be very weak on wave 7, even though Ethian could be strong with veterans and coilers. They are very weak against mass brutes. If you get 3 brutes, let's say, but they're sending now.
Oh, and you think this is a mistake? I don't know.
Hmm.
The Berserker is quite strong here, but not invincible. If it tanks too much, it dies quite quickly.
He will
But I
get
think
2
Etienne and
brutes.
Abaddon are reading a 7 sen and not a 6 sen, because we see that Etienne is preparing for the wave 7. But Abaddon is
Uh,
preparing for wave 6 in this Dryad.
I actually think, yeah, I'm not sure. They will be. They need a leak here, otherwise they will get killed on wave 7.
Oh yeah.
B square.
Yeah, the mask here from Bunny is quite smart, I must admit, to to protect himself from wave 7. But let's see a little bit how it's going on that wave.
There's a leak on Ethion here.
Yeah, leak on Etienne,
Yeah.
and also a leak on Zarku. The Dryad not enough to hold the wave.
No.
But is this leak a big deal for Etienne and Haviland now? That is the question. Does this allow them to push their save to wave 8, which could be a good option against a non-Tantrum mask? And I believe maybe Bonnie will Arden this Mudman. And if this
Yeah,
Mudman
but
is... Okay, so the sand is coming, so they decide to go here.
it's always risky to send right after a big leak because you gave the opponent so much gold. So if they had a haven on their hand, or no, not a haven, a bunk, or something else, they will always be able to get it out.
Yeah,
Uh,
and the
but
Harden's coming here. So maybe the play was to wait for wave 8 just because of that fact. The extra gold at first and then the Arden possibility. So I think this is the wave where the game turns favorably in the side of Bunny and Basti. Because I don't think they will leak that much.
no, and 2 hardened which are tanking the wave, are actually pretty good when they're not hit by brutes or drakes or something. They're still only getting hit by all the small units and then Hermit Mole.
Yeah, sorry, I need to take care of something. You can still continue to talk about the.
Yeah, we will have a league on Basti. He will league, I think, 4 units and the brute. Yeah, but we actually had a hold on Bunny, which is insanely good, and it put them ahead by quite a lot actually.
Yes, so this league means that the lead is now on Basti and Bunny.
Yeah.
And so they can now control the pace of the game because now they have the Mythium advantage as well as the worker advantage. So all the pressure is on Avalon and Etienne to try and build for the right wave.
And
And
they're
by looking
actually
at
all,
their build, what do you think is the weakest wave now?
on who?
On
On
Etienne
what team?
and Avalon, because those are they need to build for the weakest wave now.
Yeah, I think they are very weak on the wave 11. And actually, with all the gold they just received on the other side, I actually think they can save until wave 11.
But is Bonnie willing to do
No.
to
Yeah,
build
but
a long save?
they could also just send with income here on wave 9 and then go wave 11. I don't think I would send wave 10 against both Daphne and Circa and Coilus on the other side.
Yeah, so the strongest wave of Etienne and Avalon is indeed wave 10, and so the 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 correct call is to go for a wave 9 sen. Um, that is correct. And so, as you said, I could have preferred uh, the only income sen, but I think they're going full here.
Yeah, they are. They just won't get 3 brutes out. Yeah, wait,
Yeah,
they
yeah, he
will.
will. He will.
There you go.
He has 2 Mythium extra for
Yeah,
him.
that's nice. Maybe it would work because Etienne do not have that much damage here. He is mainly PS.
Yeah, his main DPS are the callers, and that is a problem of his role that we emphasized early on, is if he doesn't get the damage enough, um,
And now they brutes will snipe from the side. That's the problem with splits.
yeah.
You can see 3 brutes attacking one target, and then they will go to the next and to the next. That can be a problem sometimes, but I think he got enough value.
So one brute is down already, and so
Yeah.
this is a decent
No,
clear, I
no,
must admit, but
it's
it is
so.
still a massive leak with
Uh,
all of this. Uh, is it enough to kill them? That's the question.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, not quite sure, but I think they will give up this first game to Bunny and Basti, not able to recover from this initial
No.
failed long save. And so this brings one win into Bunny and Basti, so they are in the right direction to maybe have a chance to get out of the group stage. And let's discuss real quick about the turning point of this. It is the undercut from Bunny and Basti on the
On wave
sixth sen
6. Yeah.
instead of wave 7 from Avi and Etienne. And so feeling a bit overconfident into the Berserker, maybe. I think
Yeah,
this.
and the Daphne, I think because they already showed the alpha male on wave 5 and the ranger with the circa, then I think they were sure that they would not get a scent, but they were mistaken.
So yeah, so sometimes it is worth to try and surprise them on their strongest wave. This is a Jules special.
You'll also see it with nightmares, where you can catch the nightmare player and lead them 3 or 4 creeps on wave 6 because they always feel so confident if they got nightmare butcher.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think they will create their second game pretty fast. So I'll go check
Yeah.
right now if they created it. Yeah, the game is created, so we can join them
Yeah.
right away. So this was a very nice first game that displays really the core emphasis of the series. It is, can Bonnie and Basti manage the save from Ithyan and Avi?
Yeah. But to be fair, I also think that the roles on Ifyan and Harvey's side were too weak to do long saves.
Yeah, to do
Yeah,
long save,
yeah,
you really need a real well-rounded composition on the early
yeah,
stages. That means a good mix of damage and tankiness.
yeah.
But let's see if they can get a better roll now, and let's see the Legion spell now. So, the Legion spell are Dark Ritual, Investment, and Guardian Angel. So there are no aggressive spells to speak of. So I I don't think the team will emphasize their attention into the Dark Ritual because this spell is only useful if, well, I think it is only worth taking if you already took a lot of king damage. And so it's a good catch-up spell, but still not massive. For investment is a good tool to long save because it increases your income, and so it allows you to save maybe a little bit, that little one extra wave that can be useful to break your opponent. But I think the most popular one will be Guardian Angel. That
Yeah, I
increases
think.
your value by a lot.
And some units are actually coming back with more HP than they had before the wave started. Uh,
Wait,
if
wait, what
you,
happened?
if you use it on, let's say, the upgraded nightmare, so
Sorry,
or
I didn't catch what happened, and they decided to remake, I believe.
yeah, they remake because Bastion Bunny switched positions
Oh, okay, okay.
without saying.
And so they both okay, they both swapped, I believe. Yeah, it's all good. All right. A little bit of fumble, but let's get into the next game. We'll make it.
But why do Harvey and Ifyan get to choose last? How to swap it?
Uh, it's just I think they both switched, and they need to just switch one side, and so they just decided that it was their side that they're gonna switch. I think this is it. This is the only thing.
But they switched both
Yeah,
players now.
it was weird. It was weird. I'm not quite sure.
We before we had Ifyan, Haviland, and then Bonnie Bastion. Now we just have Haviland, Ifyan, and Basti
Yeah,
Bonnie.
so it's
So
the
they're
same team, right?
yeah, yeah, they're sending to the same person.
Okay, okay. Well, if they want it like that, it's okay, I guess.
Well, we got Dark Ritual again, where you get 130 gold. Uh,
But this time we have an aggressive spell that can justify the
yeah,
usage of Dark Ritual,
yeah.
and a lot of assault that gives an extra 100 Mythium to get a bigger scent on either wave 11 or 12.
And then we have Villain, which is very situational. You can only use it on a few amount of units, I think.
Yes,
High DPS, fast attacking units.
yes, exactly. You need to have that fast attacking unit, and the reason is that when you change target, you want it to be applied pretty fast for the rest of your unit to get the benefits of it. So we got the first roll from Ithian locked in, and also the roll from Basti is locked in, and we see. I think this is a hex start from Ithian, and with the unit he has, if you receive a 20 on wave 1, I believe he's able to get a full egg, but is it worth it? Normally, I think it is preferable to just push those worker after wave 2. So the
Yeah.
snail's coming in. Oh, the snail kill is gonna get this consort real bad. Consort on Basti is pretty bad. Uh, it's good. It can hold alone wave 1, but to a no sen only. To a sen, I don't know what is the. Oh, this is 67%, but there's still one dead. But still, this is not what you want to see as an early wave. The only thing is
It's
that.
it's
Yeah,
around
go
the
ahead.
same you league with the wild shroom.
Okay. But the problem I see is that, yeah, you leaked Bastion wave 1, but you wanted to go egg.
Yeah,
And
so
so,
you sit on 2 workers and get you could not know that that bunny would also sit on 2 workers.
yeah, exactly. So that in the end is pretty equal because Avi is on 5 worker as well. But yeah, they're pretty lucky that Bonnie is on 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 2 workers, now 3, because now he received a wave 1 snail and so does not expect a 40 cent on 2. And so only
Oh,
the
he can
eggs
actually
alone.
brood here. Basti can actually brood here.
Oh,
Basti will
oh, the
brood here.
brute here is massive now.
Yeah.
This is, yeah, this is a dead egg. There's no chance this egg survives. And that is the downside of sending one with those snails.
I actually don't know if it dies, but it should, right?
Yeah, there's not enough damage, single target
Okay.
damage to kill the brute. And so the egg dies 100%.
Oh
And
yeah.
so yeah, so that's why you don't want um, to send snails on one when you have an egg in mind, because you give this extra time to the opponent to push this extra worker, get the extra lithium, and if there's a leak, you know that it is trouble for you.
Now the game is gonna be really hard for Javier and Etienne, but you can still win with an egg that broke right away.
Yeah, because the strength of the egg is not only in the stats it gains over time, but it is mostly because it is one unit that is then distributed into 3 units. So it is a lot of time for your backline units to deal their damage. And
Yeah,
so
exactly.
with mask, it is a lot of damage that needs a lot of time.
I
And
actually think it would leak if he sent 40 again here against it.
yes,
It is so weak here.
a broken egg on 3 is pretty weak
Yeah.
indeed, and it would have leaked. We got the 40 Sen on wave 3 against Ali. 3 Fire Archer is leaking that. So there's a leak, but it is a 6 worker from Avi. And we have a broken egg from Bonnie also, but only a one stuck. We also have a leak from Basti against a Brute Snail. And it is understandable, even though it is a Green Devil, the Green Devil gets targeted by the Brute, and then afterwards it cannot kill anything.
No.
And we have a hold from Etienne that prevents any king damage. So a small king damage advantage on the side of Avi and Etienne,
Yeah,
but it
small.
is not massive. The goal is still even, and both teams are still in the game. But the problem is the broken egg that causes the worker count from Etienne to be lower than what he wants. So right now we're looking at this. This build from Avi normally must ring a bell into Basti and Bonnie's here that they
Yeah.
want to go for a long save, because this is the classic build for him to do a long save.
Yeah, and it's actually I've also been playing the 3 Fire Archer start, and it's actually fairly strong. You can still leak it, but if you are playing it without over pushing it too much and without getting long save down, you can actually do very well with it. But it will be destroyed by a mimic or something.
Yes, exactly. So, but the send on from Basti into Etienne, and also Bunny going for income send onto Avi. Avi will go for the Bone Crusher, if I remember this build correctly, and so it
Yeah, I
should
think he
be
will.
able to
Yeah.
hold that.
Yeah.
The only problem is, does Etienne have enough to hold the Hermit? What are his options? Maybe a
I
Windwalk?
actually, I actually think Etienne will leak here.
Yeah, I don't think
Oh,
there's a lot of chance for him to hold this one. I think he
even
just
though
lacks the damage for it.
it will give the boss so much time. Harvey is actually fairly strong.
Yeah, Avi will have no problem holding that, but the problem is Etienne. How far behind can Etienne manage uh, to be? Oh, but there was a send here. I missed the send from Avi and Etienne. Decided to go for income to possibly go 8. I think 8 is their play, but after showing this Nakomata, I'm not that sure. So we have Etienne doing better than expected, I think. It's still a leak, but at least the Scorpion King is
Yeah,
dead.
yeah, he
Avi
won't
is
kill that
holding.
much more.
Bastia small leak, only a small leak, and yeah, this is leaking quite a few. But I think, yeah, it's not the end of the world. Um, but because now he can expect a lower sand on both wave 7 and 8, and with Max he is pretty safe.
Yeah, I actually don't know if he's gonna go for the hill racer now, so it's boosted on 7. I would do
I
that. I
don't think
think.
he has enough money for it, but
No,
I think
don't
only a
think so.
false maiden, maybe 2 false maiden for 7 is good.
Also with an egg that broke on the wave it was built, and maybe. I think if he sends, he will get it, but let's see what he does.
Yeah,
No, he won't. He won't.
no,
He
it's only 45
yeah,
income here.
yeah.
So only a false maiden. I think the play
Yeah.
is to go false maiden here, yeah, and just prepare a massive circle of maiden maybe. But then he still have the violets for wave 9, so he's well prepared for that afterwards. So he can allow himself to invest into mask, but then he is in trouble for wave 10, and he's highly reliant on heavy for wave 10. Also, let's see. We see a lot of magic damage from Basti, and so a wave 7 send is not out of the question for Avi and Etienne. So Basti deciding to send here. I think Bunny will join him. Yes, so the Hermit, pretty safe play here to reduce the impact of the Maidens. And wave 7 send from Etienne and Avalon to try and break Basti on his weakest wave. But Bunny is well prepared for this wave 7 send, especially against Brutes. Um,
Yeah.
because a Nightmare can kill almost a lot of units before the Hydra dies. So that is the strongest point. So I think the other team really expected the Nekomata investment from Bani, but it is a good bait in going for the Nightmare instead. We also have the bunk from Basti. Didn't see that coming. Didn't see it on the roll correctly, but this is a good answer for wave 7, especially with this good of a split because the bunk does not tank all, and so he can continue to deal his damage afterwards.
Yeah.
But let's see the weakest play here. So
Yeah,
we
he
have,
there. He's holding.
oh,
Yeah.
both
Yeah,
Avi and Etienne are leaking, right?
yeah, but not that much on Nathan. If he leaks, I don't even think he leaks.
No, true. False Maiden is enough damage to kill this Hermit. So
Yeah,
yeah, this is a hold from Etienne. So it's
yeah,
pretty good for him to get back into the game, but you can already see the worker difference. You have 2 worker difference between Etienne and Basti, and 1 from Abby and Bunny, so for a total
Yeah.
of 3 workers difference already.
They're
And
falling behind now a little bit.
yeah, both Basti and Bunny holding that is just, again, a spiral downward for them. Okay, so let's see now. Wave 8 will be pretty safe for everyone. And Bunny doing the
I
erasers for
actually,
9.
I actually think I don't know what she's. Oh, he built the Pegasus. I actually think because he do not have, he only got 3 false maidens that you could resend, but you can also just send on wave 10.
Yeah, wave 10 is the better call because a small leak here will only help Javi and Etienne to just try and recover. And really spotting the weakest rift for both of them, which is wave 10 right now, from what
Yeah.
we see. And so I think resending would have been a mistake indeed. But I'm not sure about this eraser for 9 on Bonnie.
No, he just upgraded the false maiden to have it boosted on 9, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
but is it better to have this eraser than other stuff? I mean, maybe it's a better setup for 11 afterwards.
and then he got the damage in the orchid.
Yeah, true.
I
True.
I think when you boost the orchid, it's not getting ranged.
No, no,
Oh,
exactly.
so
It is melee damage. It is only the peewees that has been changed.
yeah. So they actually deal a massive amount of damage to this wave.
Yes, exactly. So you can kill easily 4 carapace, I think, with only a single boosted orchid. Yeah, it is around 4, 3.5 more. But let's see. So the cents are supposed to come here for Etienne, not for Etienne, for Basti and Bonnie. But does Etienne and Avi just invest into king ups now, or is it too late for that? They need to go for the income, right?
Oh, they
So we got a Ghost Knight coming onto Basti,
that Ghost Knight is really strong.
especially against this Millennium, right?
Yeah.
And this is pretty much the only damage Basti has for 10, right?
Yeah,
Of
it's
course, there's the consorts, but I don't think he wants to invest too much into that. But we have Bonnie able to get the double, and this is massive. This will allow him to hold for both himself and Basti. But
yeah, maybe, but he will not have the he do not have the the butcher, the head chef on it. So maybe it won't hold.
yeah, it depends all about the focus here.
Oh, yeah,
But
it
I
will
think the
hold.
focus is good now
Oh,
because now the bus is just now turning into the double.
yeah,
Might be enough.
it is enough.
Yeah, and we have a leak from Basti. We have a leak from Etienne as expected. Heavy is holding the buff, but does he hold? No, he doesn't hold the pack leader. Neither does he the hermit.
No.
And so this is massive king damage from Basti and Bonnie. But let's see here. Does this count as a lot of king damage? I don't think so. No, I think this is a
Oh,
clear from Bonnie. Yeah, Bonnie clears the boss without any problem. So this is a huge win for Bonnie and Basti now. But can Avi and Etienne use the Dark Ritual spell to do a recovery stance now? Oh, they decide to go aggressive with the Hollow Assault. I think this is an interesting choice. I'm
yeah,
not
I
quite
think it
sure.
is as well. I think they go 12, both of them then.
12 into Basti makes sense. Oh, and even on Bonnie because there's no protection for this double. You're right. And also, Etienne is pretty strong on next. Unfortunately, he's not investing into an Hellraiser to be strong next. Do you think a circle of false maiden is enough in that case?
I think it will have huge problem against the siege ram and a hermit or something.
Yeah, I think Basti will go for the Mole Hermit and not for the
Yeah.
Siege Ram. Because I think if you only send the Siege Ram, you will only leak the Siege Ram.
Also, if you get a hermit as well. Oh, he only got 219. Yeah, then it will
Yes,
be more
exactly.
hermit.
So that's the
Yeah.
problem with the Mythium cost.
Yeah.
Oh, deciding for a little
Yeah,
bit
but
more income before sending the Hermit, which is
yeah.
smart here. We got double 4-eye onto... do you like this 4-eye though?
And Bonnie will send a pack leader as well, I think.
Yes, pack leader would be very nice onto Avi here. Because even though there's a lot of fortified armor into the Harbinger and the Gate Guard, the problem is that they're pretty squishy now with the change in their attack speed and things like
I
that.
would send a he sent a pack leader. That's very good.
But I don't really like the 4-eye sent here. Maybe on Bonnie makes sense, but on Basti, I believe an Olger would have been way better here.
Yeah.
Unless he feared maybe the Haven.
But they're both holding quite easy.
Yeah, so Bonnie and Basti, really easy hold
Yeah.
for them. We have Etienne, close, but not quite a hold, and also Avi leaking as well.
Yeah, leaking a little bit.
All of the little units are fairly low, so this is not game yet. Basti is leaking quite a lot though. It's only the 4-eye cost, sorry. So it's not quite a lot. It is just a 4-eye that is quite expensive compared to the wave, and so it is a large number. But yet again, we need to stress out the worker difference here. We got 3 worker difference from Bonnie to Avi and 5, and so it keeps growing on the side of Bonnie and Basti. And we have a total of 10 worker difference, and even now, this is going to 12. Bonnie is just full pushing.
Yeah, I think they will maybe go 14.
Yeah, I think the call is to go 14 to end this. Because right now, what do we see as an answer for 14 on the side of Etienne and Avi? Etienne not having the best tank line for 14. He sure has a good damage line, but there's no arcing defenses, and most of his tanks are nature defense, and so 14 makes sense in that.
Yeah, they could, if they had good value and good workers, they would be fairly strong on 14 because the masks are actually okay DPS on 14 if you got a lot of them, and you got the disciples and Badger and Harbingers on Harvey, but I think they will be too low value to hold a very big send. Yeah, they
Yes,
are sending. Yeah.
exactly. So in an even game, a 14 cent on Avi and Etienne would have been a mistake, but now they just decided to go full workers and just abuse them on 14.
And then let's say that they send again on 16. They will almost have the same Ithium again as Ithian and Harvey.
Yes,
So
exactly. Just because it's almost wait, this is 7, this is 10, this is 17 extra workers, so it is exactly uh, the median between Avi and Etienne.
and I actually think that Basti will have the pack leader as well.
Yeah, it's 145.
Oh yeah, he will. He will have the
Yes, he
pack leader.
will,
No,
just
no,
barely,
he
but
sent
no, he
he sent
decided
brutes.
against it. But he would have gotten it.
Yeah.
It's always the question of the last second, how it interacts with the game server and if you register or not. But I still think this should be very good for Bastion Bonnie. But if, and I say really a big if, Aviation are to hold this, this could be a big good thing for them. But yeah, this is now the end for Etienne. Heavy is
Yeah,
not doing
it's
too
GG.
bad, but it is not enough to hold his mate Etienne, and it is game. So we got a 2-0 from B Square. So is this the beginning of their comeback in the competition? We will see further in the next match to see the result. The next match will be in 20 minutes. We will have a lot of time to discuss on what went wrong in this game. But I think it is a really bold move by Bastien Boni to just go for a full worker push into the 14 finish.
It was, but they actually had not that much to lose because with the send on 14, they would still have been able to hold, I think, or just leak very little. And they were almost sure to win if the other team did not send. So I think it was a risky move, but with limited risk anyway, because if you are not losing full pushing, then you could just as well do it.
Yes, exactly. Especially with the build from Basti, which secured him after the wave 12 send for a 13 and 14 hold easily with the Millenniums. I don't know if Bonnie's masks were 10th round, but I think it was only on the odd waves. So on 13 there were, but not on 14. So overall, well played from Basti and Bonnie. Really, in the first game, covering all of the saves and undercutting uh, Etienne and Avi on wave 6 to secure them the lead and then hold their big send on wave 7. And this game, a more standard one, where there was more sense, but the big mistake on wave 1 to send the snails, I believe, to try and leak them, but just made Etienne lose this egg.
Yeah, I also I tend to tell people in not always such a kind way that it's very bad to send snail on one if you only have two workers.
Yes,
Uh, but but sometimes it pays off. But even though they forced a leak here, you could. I hope people notice that even though you think, oh, I leaked him on wave one, then it can still be bad for you because then you just lose even harder on wave two or wave three, and you will be so far behind on on Mythium and gold because you only had two workers and the other two guys on the other team had five workers both.
yes, exactly. And I think Penny will have a little pat in the back when he hears that because he's just said right now in the chat that that's why you don't send Snell on wave 1 if you want to go egg.
Yeah, and I think I play a little bit with some Danish friends, and I actually try to explain the reasoning behind when to snail on one and when not to snail on one. And it's not always just a gamble, uh, where you have a chance to leak the opponent. It's also about your worker count, and if you send, let's say, 20 on wave one, but you are still able to get out 60 on wave 3, then it's really good to set 20 on 1 because then you maybe force the opponent to push 5 workers and then they will leak hard versus the 60 cent. It's all about the small mind games at this high elo range.
Yes, exactly. And so that's why you must always communicate with your mate if they really want a slow game or a fast game. Because if they have a low amount of workers, that's where you want a fast game.